Kai Havertz, back in the building against Chelsea on the day that matters most. Welcome to Andy Gunners Live. I am Andrew, and if you are an Arsenal supporter anywhere on this planet right now, you need to be watching this video until the very last second, because today is not just another Sunday afternoon in North London. Today is a statement. Today is a test. And today, ladies and gentlemen, could be the afternoon we take a truly significant step towards bringing that Premier League title back to the Emirates Stadium. Before we go any further, if you are new to this channel, hit subscribe right now. Turn those notifications on, like this video, drop a comment below, and tell me where you are watching from today. I want to see Arsenal supporters from every corner of the world in that comments section. And stay with me until the very end, because I have a full tactical breakdown of this fixture that I think is going to genuinely change how you watch the game this afternoon. Let us get straight into it. Late last night, just after 11 o'clock, the insider account Hand of Arsenal dropped a piece of news that sent the Arsenal fan base into an absolute frenzy. Kai Havertz has been included in the Arsenal squad for today's match against Chelsea. A final decision on whether he makes the official matchday team sheet will be made this morning by Mikel Arteta, but the fact that he is with the squad at the training ground ready to be considered is enormous news. Now let me give you the full picture on this, because I think the significance of Havertz being available today is sometimes undersold. This man has had an absolutely brutal season in terms of his body. He suffered a serious knee issue in the very first game of the campaign and missed months. Just when Arsenal fans were starting to breathe again and Arteta's staff were confident in a return timeline, he suffered a setback. Another blow. More weeks on the sidelines. More careful rehabilitation. More patience required from everyone at the club. Arteta and his medical team have been incredibly measured in their management of Havertz. They have not rushed him, they have not risked him. Every training session has been monitored, every load carefully controlled. And now, on a Sunday afternoon in March, with the Premier League title race heating up and Chelsea arriving at the Emirates, Havertz is ready to be available against Chelsea, his former club. The club whose fans have not exactly been kind to him since he chose to move to Arsenal. And here is why that detail matters so much. In 5 appearances against Chelsea since leaving Stamford Bridge, Kai Havertz has never once been on the losing side. 3 wins, 2 draws, and 3 goals, including a late winner the last time these two sides met this season. The man simply cannot stop hurting them. Whether it is a full 90 minutes or a cameo off the bench, Havertz against Chelsea is a recurring nightmare for Blues supporters and a recurring highlight reel for Gunners everywhere. If Arteta decides to bring him on at any point this afternoon, the atmosphere inside the Emirates is going to be electric. Chelsea will know it, their defenders will know it, and frankly, their fans watching at home will know it too. Arsenal go into today's match 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. That is a healthy lead. That is the kind of lead that gives you breathing room. But in football, especially in a season as competitive as this one has been, 5 points is never a guaranteed buffer. You do not win the league in March, but you can certainly begin to lose it. We saw what happened to this club last season. We remember the feeling. We know the weight of those drop points. And every single person in that stadium this afternoon will have that history somewhere in the back of their minds. So this fixture against Chelsea is not just 3 points. It is a message. It is a statement to every other team in this league that Arsenal are not going to blink. Chelsea arrive at the Emirates sitting mid-table, level on points with Liverpool in 6th, 3 points behind 4th place Manchester United. They are fighting for European football, not the title. But do not make the mistake of writing them off as a side with nothing to play for in this game. That would be a serious error of judgment. Liam Rosenior's Chelsea side has shown this season that they can be unpredictable, dangerous on the counter, and capable of taking points off the top teams when you least expect it. That Carabao Cup semi-final this season told us Arsenal were capable of handling them, winning 1-0. But in the Premier League, over 90 minutes, with the pressure of a title race bearing down, this demands absolute focus and absolute quality from Arteta's squad. And that is exactly what we are going to get. Let me be completely transparent with you about where Arsenal stand physically going into this match, because I think you deserve the full picture rather than just blind optimism. The big concern is Mikel Merino. If you have followed this channel, you know how devastated I was when the news came through that Merino had suffered a stress fracture in his foot requiring surgery. He came to this club last summer with so much promise and delivered so much quality in the first part of the season. Watching him get injured again at this stage of the campaign was genuinely painful. He is out for months. That situation is not going to change before the end of the season. Arteta has had to reorganise his entire midfield structure around that absence. The other concern is Ben White at right back. He missed the Tottenham victory with what Arteta described as a niggle. When asked directly on Friday whether White would be available against Chelsea, the manager gave one of those classic non-answers, saying simply that they would see The reality is that if White cannot go today, Arteta has options. But White is such a technically refined player in that position that his absence would be felt. We will know more once those team sheets are confirmed. Bukayo Saka took an ankle knock during the Tottenham game after a collision, but all the indications since have been positive. He was moving freely at training this week. Arteta will not be reckless with Saka. He never is, but the expectation is that he starts this afternoon. And if Saka starts, Arsenal's threat level goes up by about 30%. He is that influential to the way they play. And then there is Havertz, which we have already discussed at length. The question is not just whether he is available, but what role Arteta has in mind for him. Does he start and hope he can manage 60 to 70 minutes? Does he come off the bench for the final 30? Does he start and carry the weight of the occasion with fresh legs from weeks of rest? Any of those scenarios is possible, and all of them present a very real threat to Chelsea. I want to spend a moment on something that I think deserves proper recognition, because it tells you a great deal about how much Arsenal's recruitment has improved in the last 2 years. Noni Madueke signed for Arsenal last summer from Chelsea. He is now set to face his former club at the Emirates this afternoon. Think about that for a second. Arsenal went to Chelsea and took one of their most dangerous wide forwards. A player Chelsea developed. A player Chelsea invested in. A player Chelsea's fans were excited about. And now he wears red and white. Now he lines up in Arsenal colours. Now he gets to face the club that let him go. Madueke has been excellent this season in patches. His pace, his directness, his ability to run at defenders in wide areas has added a real dimension to Arsenal's attacking play. This afternoon, he has every motivation in the world to put on a performance. Not out of spite, but out of professional pride. These are the moments players play their entire careers for. He will want to show Chelsea what they are missing. That storyline alone is worth the price of admission today. Now let us look at where Chelsea stand, because they arrive at the Emirates with some genuine problems in their squad. Marc Cucurella is out. The left-back, who has been one of Chelsea's better performers this season, picked up a hamstring injury against Leeds and is not expected to be available today. That is a significant blow to Rosenior's defensive options. Esteval Willian, the teenager who was supposed to be the exciting young talent bringing energy and creativity to Chelsea's attack, is also out with a hamstring issue. He has had a frustrating first season dealing with fitness problems, and today he will be watching from home. Jamie Gittins left the pitch after just 25 minutes against West Ham with a hamstring problem of his own, and he has not recovered in time for today. 3 hamstring injuries in Chelsea's attacking and wide positions. 3 dangerous players unavailable. That is a significant portion of their offensive threat removed before a ball has even been kicked this afternoon. Levi Colwill, who suffered a serious knee injury in pre-season, remains a long-term absentee. He is fighting to return before the end of the campaign, but will not feature today. Dario Asugo has still not made his Chelsea debut due to a thigh problem. He was removed from the Champions League roster, which tells you everything you need to know about the severity of his situation. Romeo Lavia is the one interesting development on Chelsea's side. He made the bench in their last match after returning from a long absence with a thigh injury. Whether Rosenior trusts him enough to use him as a weapon today remains to be seen, but his availability gives Chelsea a little more depth in the middle of the park. And Philip Jorgensen, Chelsea's first-choice goalkeeper, who has been dealing with an undisclosed issue, may or may not be available according to Rosenior, who said his return could come as early as today or as late as the Aston Villa game during the week. If Jorgensen cannot go, Robert Sanchez starts in goal. And while Sanchez is a capable keeper, he has had some unconvincing moments this season that Arsenal will be fully aware of. I want to get properly into the tactical detail now, because this is where I think we can give you something beyond just the basic preview. This is where Andy Gunner's Live adds value. Arsenal's fundamental strength this season has been their ability to combine structure with dynamism. Arteta has built a team that is incredibly difficult to play against because they press with intelligence, not just with energy. They do not just throw bodies at the opponent. They press with coordinated triggers, they cut off passing lanes, they force teams into predictable patterns, and then win the ball in dangerous positions. Against Chelsea this afternoon, the most important pressing trigger will be isolating Moises Caicedo. The Ecuadorian midfielder is Chelsea's defensive anchor and their primary ball distributor from deep. He is excellent when he has time and space. He is significantly less effective when he is harried and hurried. If Arsenal can get their press right and make Caicedo uncomfortable on the ball early, they will disrupt Chelsea's entire rhythm. Victor Gyökeres, as the focal point of Arsenal's attack, presents Chelsea's central defenders with a physical problem they have not consistently solved this season. Gyökeres is exceptional at holding the ball with his back to goal, bringing others into play, and then spinning and running at the defensive line when the opportunity presents itself. His brace against Tottenham last time out reminded everyone at the Emirates exactly why Arsenal invested in him. Against Chelsea, he will be the target. He will be the reference point. And if the wide players can get into positions around him, Arsenal should create chances. The left side is where I am most excited to see what Arteta sets up. Gabriel Martinelli has been excellent in recent weeks. His combination play with Calafiori and Odegaard down the left corridor has been genuinely thrilling at times. Martinelli's movement off the ball, his ability to find the pocket behind Chelsea's right back, and his sheer relentlessness will be a constant problem for whoever Rosunior fields at right back. In central midfield, the key question is how Arteta manages the absence of Merino. Declan Rice anchors that midfield beautifully. He reads the game, he wins the ball, he carries intelligently. But without Merino alongside him, the creative burden shifts heavily towards Odegaard as the driving force from the 8th position. Odegaard looked sharp when he came off the bench against Tottenham after his absence, moving well, finding the right passes. If he starts today and is at close to his best, Chelsea will struggle to contain Arsenal's offensive transitions. Something that often gets lost in the noise of match previews is the importance of pattern recognition. Not individual moments, but patterns of behaviour. And the pattern with Arteta's Arsenal in big home games this season has been very clear. They are aggressive early. They set the tone in the first 15 minutes. They press with intensity. They look for the first goal as quickly as possible. And once they have a lead, they manage the game with intelligence. This is not accident. It is design. Against Tottenham in the North London derby, they were 2 goals up before the game had found its rhythm. Against Sunderland, 3 goals before half-time ended. Any possibility of a contest. Against Aston Villa, the tone was set in the opening period and never relinquished. Rosenior's Chelsea side, for all their talent in individual positions, have struggled to establish their own identity. When behind in games, they drop deep, they become reactive, and they rely on individual brilliance rather than collective patterns to find the way back into matches. If Arsenal can score in the first 20 minutes this afternoon, this game could be over as a contest far earlier than Chelsea would like. Let me come back to Havertz one more time because I think it is worth sitting with this properly. There will be Chelsea supporters this afternoon who see his name on the team sheet and feel a knot in their stomach. That is not dramatic language. That is just the reality of what he has done to them since he left. He scored a late winner the last time these two sides met this season. He has won 3 and drawn 2 of the 5 times he has faced his former club. His record against Chelsea, physically and psychologically, is exceptional. But beyond the statistics, there is a broader emotional layer to this story that I think is genuinely compelling. Havertz left Chelsea under difficult circumstances. His time there was not easy. He was never quite able to fully express himself at Stamford Bridge in the way that he has been able to since moving to Arsenal. When he is fit and firing, the version of Havertz we see at the Emirates, the versatile, powerful, technically excellent forward who can play in multiple positions and produce moments of genuine quality, that is a player Chelsea never really unlocked. And today, if Arteta decides to give him minutes, whether from the start or from the bench, those Emirates fans are going to welcome him back with a reception that tells you everything about how this club feels about him. Despite the injuries, despite the difficult season, he is one of theirs. Arsenal are 5 points clear with a game in hand over their nearest rivals entering today. 3 points this afternoon would move them 8 points clear if results go their way. 8 points with 13 games to go would be a margin that very few teams in Premier League history have surrendered. I am not here to crown this Arsenal side today. I learnt that lesson the hard way in previous seasons. In this club's recent history, we have all learnt that lesson. You do not pop the champagne early. You do not count the points before they are on the board. But what I will say is this. The squad Arteta has built is different. The depth is different. The mentality is different. When Merino went down injured, this team did not crumble. They beat Tottenham 4-1 without him. When injuries have hit at various points this campaign, this squad has found answers. Eze has stepped up. Kai Havertz has delivered. The back four has remained one of the most solid defensive units in European football. Today is another opportunity to prove the growth is real. Today is another opportunity to take a step that matters. And today, if Kai Havertz walks out onto that Emirates pitch against the club that sold him, and if he makes the difference in any way, whether it is a goal, an assist, a penalty won, or simply 20 minutes of energy that unsettles Chelsea's defensive shape, it will be one of the stories of this Premier League season. You want to know what I think happens today? All right, here it is. Arsenal win, 2-0. Victor Gyökeres opens the scoring before the half-hour mark. Bukayo Saka adds a second in the second half after being released by Odegaard. Havertz comes off the bench in the 65th minute to a thunderous reception and plays the final 25 with energy and quality. Chelsea create 1 or 2 half chances through Cole Palmer, but David Raya does not have a serious save to make. Arsenal move 8 points clear at the top of the table. That is the dream. That is what I want. That is what every single person reading this in a red and white shirt this afternoon wants. Will it happen exactly that way? Football never follows a script. but the ingredients are there, the quality is there, the motivation is there. Today is the day. The Emirates is ready. Arteta is ready. This squad is ready. Arsenal versus Chelsea, March the 1st. The title race is alive. The most watched club football in the world is being played right here, right now. And Arsenal are at the top of the table with the best squad in the division and a manager who has built something genuinely special. If you are at the stadium today, make some noise. If you are watching at home, get your shirt on. If you are in a pub somewhere in the world, surrounded by fellow Gunners, raise a glass. This is what we live for. I am Andrew. This is Andy Gunners Live. We are on the right side of history. And today we take another step. Come on, you Gunners.